being home for the additional 3 days is on women, who are often the primary caregivers. There will be 3 less days that students' physical and emotional well-being are not monitored by trained professionals in a safe school setting, and educational losses resulting from the loss of instruction time. Uh, we have a learning loss coordinator, right? But we're cutting days of instruction. It just seems counterintuitive. Uh, Mark informed me that there has been proposed legislation, the state level, to align the calendar year with regional tech centers. Is every other district that sends students to our regional tech center taking measures to align their calendars? And what is the percentage of the schools that are aligned? It seems like this is 100% by choice, since the legislation has only been proposed. I assume that the district has expended some resources on studying the learning gaps created by COVID, which are all well documented, and how to overcome them. Has that individual or group made any recommendations that involve cutting classroom instruction as a fix? I always keep an open mind, but at this point, I cannot find a reason that I would be in favor of taking away days of instruction from the children. I mention this because I've attended many school board meetings where board members have spoken about how much support they've received from constituents on whatever the topic is. Can you let us know how many constituents have emailed you in support of decreasing classroom instruction for the students of this district? Can you also please speak about your plans going forward for remote instruction? There was a time when remote instruction may have been necessary, and at that time, there were far more unknowns about the effectiveness of it. Now, after a couple of years of various COVID learning models, we know that remote instruction was a failure by pretty much every measure. Should the policy of allowing 5 days of remote schooling due to inclement weather be revisited now that we, sorry, getting old and the eyes go with it, overwhelming the results of it are, or underwhelming the results of it are? The potential of having 5 days of meaningless remote instruction combined with additional loss of 3 days of instruction is taking a lot of classroom time away from a generation that was decimated by several years of steep learning loss. Perhaps this is an opportunity to do away with any remote learning. Mark mentioned that remote learning typically takes place 3 times per year. Doing away with remote learning policy would at least cover the 3 days of instruction that will likely be taken away from the children with the adoption of the new calendar. Thanks.
Thank you. Is anyone else in the public that wishes to comment?
Becky King from Pennacook. Kind of the same sentiments as Ray. My concern is decreasing the calendar. I understand for most of our typical average students, it's not going to have a huge impact. For our accelerated learners, it's not going to have a huge impact. I have an accelerated learner, but I also have a child with a learning